From way out on the Lincolnshire Wolds, the dock tower dominates the skyline of Grimsby. Today, the tower has no function, but is synonymous with the town as a landmark, of which the people of the area are justly proud. Constructed in 1852, the 309-foot tower was designed in the style of a bell tower in Siena in Italy. Formerly, it played a vital part in the daily life of the port. It housed the hydraulics which operated the lock gates and 15 quayside cranes. Although it ceased to be used many years ago, it continued to be symbolic to the fishermen as a welcoming sign of home from way out at sea as they returned from their arduous trips to the vast and dangerous northern oceans. This fascinating building has seen so many changes during the life of Grimsby Fish Docks. I'm now going to meet Mr. Bill Hobson, who's the chairman of Grimsby Fish Merchants Association, to find out what the fish docks were like in their heyday. Hello, Bill.
Hello.
Thanks for seeing me.
Pleasure.
I see you've got some problems here. What do you think of that?
Well,
going to be out of work?
Yes, we're thinking the unthinkable after all these years. But 50 years ago, they thought this would last forever. Nobody was concerned about fishing or processing. They thought it would last forever, and it has been sadly neglected. As you can see on the market today, which we'll take you down and show you, we've got only 200 boxes. So we have more buyers than fish to sell to them. If you go back 50 years, you can imagine this dock full of boats. Today we have one in.
One?
One only. We had over 400 boats fishing the North Sea, Faroe, Westerly, Bear Island, Iceland, White Sea. There were also hundreds of dock workers known as lumpers who unloaded the boats each night. They started work at midnight and on a busy night worked through until the daily auction started. There was very little in the way of automation, and this was very unpleasant work on a cold winter's night. Today, the ship's crews tend to land their own fish, but the majority of the fish comes in by container from Iceland, Faroe and Norway. We only get about a 1/12 of the fish now that we used to get 50 years ago, and less than 3% comes in by water, by boat. The rest comes in overland.
Overland?
That's right. If you'd like to put your white coat on, I'll take you down onto the docks and show you what's available today.
I look forward to that.
This is a typical day now on Grimsby Fish Market, only 200 boxes, from the days of having 20,000, including on Saturday.
Every day.
I went down dock this morning, where I used to earn me pay, and walked by empty beds, where deep-sea trawlers used to lay, where we fitted out their engines, the diesel and the steam. But their mighty power is gone, and now they're just an old man's dream.
Earlier, Adrian, we showed you around the new fish market. We're now on the old fish market. If you can imagine that what we saw down there earlier, only 200 boxes of fish. On this market here, and in all of this area up here, we would get 20 to 30,000 boxes of fish every day, sometimes 6 days a week. In the past, the fish auction started at 7 a.m. in the morning and progressed along the fish market and along the jetties. Buyers and labourers massed around the auctioneer, while at the same time the fish processors continued to work. The auction looked fairly chaotic, but it did work well, and today the same system is still used. All of this area was used, and bear in mind this stretches for something like 2 miles around the Grimsby Dock estate.
2 miles long?
2 miles long, and it was also used by fish merchants. These areas were rendered to the fish merchants in blocks. Yes. They had on there a chiller, a barrow and filleting. So the fish was landed round them. There was hundreds of men employed to take the fish off the boats at midnight.
Yes.
And it was auctioned here at 7 o'clock in the morning. If you can imagine, on this stretch alone, we could have 3,000 boxes of fish, which is a third of what we receive all week now in Grimsby. Round on this area, round into the jetties, there was merchants. In those days, there'd be about 700. Now, we only have 100. But nevertheless, it is still vibrant, still busy. It's hard to imagine, looking at this now, how it used to be. But I remember it, how it used to work. Thousands of people, barrow boys, box suppliers, icemen, filleters, auctioneers, the lot. It was absolutely vibrant. And of course, we also had the British Transport Docks Police here at the same time. But our fleet now, if you can imagine, we have a marina. The marina is the sort of the movement of boats. Not a fishing boat to be seen. I'm afraid the EU's really sort of done this for us. We have nothing left.
Yeah. And the cod wars.
The cod wars was another problem. Of course, you can't blame the Icelanders and the Norwegians. They've protected their stocks. They've looked at the year classes. They've got it right. Fish management with those two countries is absolutely right. That's why, of course, they won't join the EU. These days, we have a very small fishing fleet. Very small boats with 2 and 3 men crews. So when they want a provision, they normally go down to the local supermarket to get whatever they want.
Oh, local store.
The local stores. In the old days, it was all done on the North Wall in a massive scale, massive size.
Yes.
I'll take you along to the North Wall now and show you what used to happen there.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
This is the fishing fleet today. As you can see now, small seine nettle vessels. Now we arrive at the North Wall. Here we are at the North Wall. As you can see, we have a ship here which is ready for scrap. We have another boat which is now burnt out. We have 2 little snibbies, and that's our fishing fleet. If you could imagine in the heyday, this dock was full of boats, stern on. It was the only way they could berth them. There's so many of them, all different nationalities, mainly British. In this vast area here of 32 acres of water, you could walk from one side of the dock to the other by going over boats. It was unbelievably busy.
Unbelievable.
When they came down here to provision, they got the water, their oil. These used to be the coal chutes where we stood here now.
Yes.
Used to get the skins, the nets, and everything in this area before they took out from the dock gates, which is right at the very end there, to go back to the North Sea.
But I ask the rain that rattles all along the bleak North Wall, could they not have left a little? Did they have to take it all?